Morning, everybody. Thanks for checking in again. Today's little project, we got a 2009 Pontiac G5, little four-cylinder. The way I understand it, the young lady that operates the vehicle connected with one of our wonderful potholes, craters, as we call them, asteroid holes, and crushed the transmission pan. There was an attempt at a repair. New transmission pan went up. There was two broken bolts in the front where the I guess the edge of the crater caught the pan, ripped two bolts off. I understand one bolt was drilled out successfully. The other one, the drill bit went astray as they were drilling it. They did their best at putting a bolt in there. A quick peek underneath is all I've done so far, other than it's leaking like a sieve. And there's what's supposed to be like a 6mm bolt has what looks like a 5/16 bolt in there. So we're gonna give it a shot, see if we can make something better out of it, maybe an insert or something, whatever we got to do. So let's put it up in the air, get this thing looked at, drained, and see what the surface of the case looks like. Come along. Alright, well, that's kind of what I thought I saw when I poked my head underneath. It does have a new mount in it, new transmission pan, and as you can see, and you can see it's dripping. There's no doubt there. Like I said, it looks like it has little, I believe they're 6mm bolts, except for that baby. It's got a couple of washers on it, and it looks to be like a 5/16 bolt. That kind of goes. Oh, let me get this flashlight a little better. Yeah, it does go through the case, comes out the other side. Oh, sorry, let me straighten that out. But it definitely looks like that bolt went through crooked, which is going to make things a bit interesting. New pan's got a drain plug. I don't know if the old one did, but that's kind of going to help us real quick. Let's drain this thing down. Let's get the pan off. Let's take a look at what we're dealing with, and then decide on a course of action. This should be fun. Drip right on me, won't you? Oh, it did too. God darn it. Got that baby right on me. Well, at least the fluid's clean. I got it going in a clean pan. I think we'll try to save some of it because that fluid literally just went in. So we'll give it an effort. We'll save what we can. Funny, I don't care how hard you try. I always seem to get dirty doing a transmission service somehow. I get splashed, I get dripped on. Please tell me I'm not the only one. Let's see what kind of mess we can make. Oh, tripped on again. You gotta be kidding me. It's early. I hate getting dripped on and dirty early. Gotta go a whole day with this smelling like burnt antifreeze or transmission fluid or gear oil. It's on your clothes and you smell like a rat. That's a long bolt with a lot of washers. I believe you just put a filter on it. I'm just going to pull it down to Get that little extra bit of fluid out. Maybe it'll drain a little bit faster. There we go. Oh, at least it looks clean. Well, without getting transmission fluid on the camera, that's the one we're dealing with right there. Definitely looks like it went a little bit off on the drill. Maybe we'll see if we can put an insert. My only issue is I don't have metric inserts that small. The smallest I have is a 1/4 by 20, which we may wind up doing. So let's see what we can do. Quick note, you know, for those that are looking and going, you know, making judgment about people that, you know, drill crooked or what have you. You know, just my personal experience when it comes to the drilling. Let me back out before I drip on that. You know, it's funny. I know some really good techs that just don't like to drill. They don't have the patience for it. Drilling out some of this stuff, you know, depending on the hardness of the bolt, the hardness of what it's mounted into. You know, I know some, like I said, some really good techs that just don't drill well, and they'll admit it. They say, listen, you know, you drill this out, I'm going to go do something else. Because when it comes to drilling out some of this stuff, it can take a lot of patience, planning. I know, you know, I'm okay with it. Although this one's going to be a bit of a challenge because it's already drilled and it's off. So I got to try to straighten it out. Whatever. I guess my point is, you know, don't knock people that, don't knock until you try it. Drilling out some of the stuff is tough. And for those that are good at it, you know, try to teach the guys that don't know how to do it, because, you know, I know when I do it, exhaust manifold, bolts, whatever it may be, if I know if I'm in for a ride, I clear everything away. I lay out my drill bits, my taps. I get everything set up. I turn off the phone, because it can be a bit of a challenge. It is what it is, and you know, to do it right and get it to come out straight and not be an animal and not lose your patience and have the drill walk on you. Go, screw it, I'll just throw something in there. It's close enough, and it leaks. And you know, it's just, so I don't want. I guess my point is, don't pass judgment on level of skill based on how somebody drills. It's like a whole different thing. So, like, some guys are good at bulwark, some guys are good at diag, some guys are good at drilling, and some guys are not. So, that's all I want to say. Don't pass judgment. I happen to be okay with it. I'm not patting myself on the back, but I have a little bit of patience. Let's hope I have patience for this one, because this looks interesting. All right, little interruption. Let's try this again. What I want to try to do, I think, is first I want to see how off this hole is, the one that was drilled, in the attempt to get out the broken bolt. I know it's not where it's supposed to be. It missed. Now, let me actually pick you guys up and see if you can get a really good shot at that. I know I showed it before, but now, there it is. You can see that baby's off center. And part of the old bolt looks to still be in there. So, straighten it out. All right, this may be a bit primitive. But he's got part of the bolt drilled out, and oh god, it's got all kinds of glue in there. And drilling it is gonna, I want to say it's gonna be nearly impossible. I'd like to see if I can knock out whatever's left of that bolt. I'm guessing it's going to look like a, I don't know, like a bolt that's been drilled a little off to the left. And if I can somehow, get Get it to move. Somehow I don't think so though. I really need to recenter this thing. And then I can drill it out a little bigger and actually put an insert in there. Right now, oof, that hole is off. See it. I can see the other half of the bolt in there. I'm tempted to get a drill bit and try to walk it sideways. Oh, this is gonna be a mess. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Oh, put that light on. There goes that bit. Knew that was coming. The problem here is I'm also using this drill bit like it's not supposed to be used. I'm essentially trying to run the bit sideways to take some of that bolt out because it's here and I really need to be over this way. 1/8 of an inch. There goes that one. There goes another bit. That's 2. Like I said, unfortunately, because we're using drill bit like it's not supposed to be used. And I literally have about 1/3 of the bolt still in there. And I'm intentionally reaching for some of my older drill bits that have been resharpened, so that when they break, I'm not going to be too upset. The truth is, I could probably leave the hole where it is and probably get it to seal, but I'd really like to do this the right way and get the rest of this bolt out. Yeah. There's so much junk up in there. Tip is gone on this one too, and I know I'm going in on an angle. For those that are looking at it, I'm doing that on purpose because I'm trying to catch the bolt. The piece of the broken bolt that's in there is actually like a wedge shape, so I'm trying to get it. It's wedged this way. I want to try to grab it, and then I'll straighten the drill bit out. Again, it's very unorthodox, but I don't have much of a choice. As if push comes to shove, I could probably leave the bolt where it is, but I don't want to. That's right where the bolt is. That's it right there. But it really wants to walk over. You can hear it flicking off the bolt. Yep, and it just wants to walk. Yeah. And the good thing is the hole does go through, so if you get this thing this large, maybe I'll pop it out the top. No, that wasn't it. That was a piece of silicone. It's actually coming. Back in Christmas. Oh, almost got a mouthful of training fluid. That would be great. No reason to have you guys bored watching me hammer at this thing. We're going to fast forward a little bit. Well, if you can believe it, I got it out. That was what was still in there of the bolt. And you can see how far off the drill was. He started kind of centered and walked way off, because you can see the bottom of the bolt. Just about missed the whole thing. I was able to get behind it on the good side of it. In fact, you can see my punch mark right there. So essentially what happened was this bolt was, the bolt was here, and the hole was kind of where my fingers are. So I got behind this piece and wedged it out, and I was able to knock it out. And that's what it looks like. Now, let's see if we can focus here, and that is what some light. The hole looks like. Yeah, it's a mess. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to straighten that out. My goal is to put one of these in. They call it a key insert. I think there's a couple of names for it. And essentially it's a 1/4 threaded hole in the middle. On the outside it's a 3/8. And we are going to see if we can drill it, thread it, screw this piece in. And what you kind of do is, hold on. The goal is you take, there's a tool to grab these two little tits that stick out and twist it in. And then when you get it to the depth you want it, a little locked, obviously a little Loctite here on the thread, you spin it in, you get it to where you want it, you take these two pins and you knock them in, and that'll wedge this piece in place, and then you can insert your 1/4 bolt. I don't have the actual tool. It has been long lost, but fear not. You take a regular, here's what I do, this is my little trick. Only because I would go out and buy the tool, but I just don't use them that often. I took a 3/8 coarse bolt, cut a couple slots in it, and that in essence becomes my installation tool. I'll turn it in, pull the bolt out, knock the two pins in. That'll lock this piece in place, and then I get my 1/4 bolt, which again is a little large, but I don't have the right size for this, and I don't know if I could get it that anyway, because the 6mm that belongs in there is going to mean this piece is smaller, and that hole's already huge. So my goal here is to try to recenter that hole as best I can, thread it, 3/8, put this insert in. Sounds easy, right? Alright, well, at the end of the day, get my light in there a little better. Nope. Not a little bit. There's my hole kind of centered, recentered to 5/16. Now I can drill it out, I can tap it to 3/8 and see what kind of void I have left over on this inside. Possibly fill it with some JB Weld or something like that. As much as I hate to do that, I don't have much of a choice, because I don't want the fluid coming past this gasket and seeping up through that hole and then leaking out the top side of the bolt. So let's get it tapped out and see what it looks like. I wish me luck on this one. The hole is opened up. I really need to get this to one side. Actually, the only thing I got going for me is that it's soft. This hole is tapered. And the good part is, if it doesn't work out, I have a bigger insert. And we can literally put an insert in an insert, which I really don't want to do. lot of meat going up through here too, which is good. And the fact that it goes through the case, it comes out this top side. It's kind of beneficial. I can feel it catching on the sharp edges though. I definitely don't like that. I'm definitely not happy with how this feels. I'm gonna be honest. Alright. Oh. Well, like I said, I'm not gonna like the way this is gonna go in. I have a good feeling already. I'm not putting any Loctite on it. I just want to get a test fit. Let's see how it goes in here. Yeah, about as sloppy as I thought it would. Quick look here. This is busy. That's kind of what it would look like installed, but again, this hole is a little bit oblonged, so it doesn't sit in there too good. I gotta rethink this because the next one I gotta do is I'd have to drill it bigger, and I have a bigger size insert. And what I essentially would do is put this big one in here, and then I can screw this little one inside that one, and then I can put my quarter 20 in. Not a big fan of doing that, although given the current circumstances, I may have no choice because I'm not comfortable with the way this little one is sitting in there. So give me a second to reevaluate it, take a stare at it for a few minutes, and I'll bring you guys along when I figure it out. Well, I didn't like the way that other one looked. That little, the original, what was that, 3/8 insert. It's just way too sloppy. I didn't feel confident it was going to seal right. So I wound up drilling it out and putting the 1/2-inch insert in. And as you can see, I think you can see, that one fits a little bit better. Sorry to bring it along for the ride. It was just a lot of interruptions, and there was a lot of I wasn't sure it was going to work, and then when I got the insert in, I wasn't going to take it back out just to show you guys how it went in. But rest assured, hold on, this was the tool I used to insert it. Nothing more than a 1/2-inch bolt. I put 4 slits in it. Once you get it tapped out right, that basically screws it in. Now we're just gonna set these in to lock it in place, and then I'm gonna put the other insert inside of it so I can use a quarter 20 bolt. And then we'll run through all these threads real quick, chase them all, make sure they're gonna no more breakages, and then we'll put this thing together and get this out the door because this is taking just a little bit too long. So hang on. All right, it looks like my flashlight's going dead as well. And let's see, bring it a little closer. That's kind of what it looks like. We'll clean that up. We're going to put the other insert in. We'll do the same procedure, pin it in place. Oh gosh, get this thing together. Look at that. gonna be going real nice. I think we'll get a little Loctite on that one. I did say a little Loctite. Got all over my hand, all over the floor. Looks like somebody's been hemorrhaging all over the place. Get a little socket, see if I can walk in it a little better. Got enough tools out, you think I was rebuilding a motor here. Oh, it's looking nice. The pins are spreading those a little bit. But, oh, man, I love it when a plan falls together. Well, I'll be. I think we've done all right here. We did okay. Let's clean it up. Let's get a pan gasket up. Let's get the pan back up. Let's get this thing filled with fluid. Tap some threads first. Alright, we're all cleaned up. I'm going to put the gasket on. This was a new pan. I had to straighten out. Let me see, I move this over a little bit. A couple of bolts that he did drill and put that oversized bolt in. Kind of dented it up, so I straightened it out a little bit. I did sand. These come painted. Again, he replaced the pan, so the pan is new. This guy's that, you know, it's painted black, powder coated, whatever. I don't like it. I'm sure it's a debatable thing. I like to sand it down, give the gasket something to grab onto. We are using a neoprene gasket, so there's no need for adhesives. However, if you go over and check out Mike over at the Flat Rate Master, make sure you tell him I was using all kinds of RTV. He loves that stuff. And that's an inside joke. If you go watch one of his videos, he does a rant about people that use globs of RTV, especially where they shouldn't be using any at all. So, that being said, I'm going to use a little bit of adhesive, only to hold the gasket in place. So, I'll go tell him that too. I'm not using this to seal it. That gasket is all kind of crinkled up. And just to save myself a little bit of aggravation, I'm just putting a couple dabs on, just to hold that sucker in place so it doesn't slide on me. I'm using 3M weather strip adhesive. It works great for this purpose. Oh, straighten that out. This thing's a mess. Okay. Don't make gaskets out of this stuff, because I gotta tell you, you'll never get it off. What I like to do is I put a little bit on the pan. When I'm using it for this purpose, I will put a little bit on. I will smear it around like I'm doing here, just to get it on both sides. Pick it back up. Give it a minute to dry off. And again, I'm sure this is debatable. Guys will be like, oh, you're going to ruin the transmission and whatever. I'm not going to ruin the transmission. You're not going to get any of it in there unless you put globs of it on. So wait till it gets tacky, like that. As long as you have it on both halves, like I just did when I smeared it around, when you put it back down, it will stick and it will stay. You can use a spray adhesive. I just didn't have any. I'm out of it, so I'm using this. Again, if you let it get tacky, once you put it down, it stays. And it will be, well, this pan's probably never coming off again, but if it had to, it'll come off. It won't be like, if you go to make a gasket out of this stuff, it gets real nasty. You want to need an air chisel and a grinding wheel. And again, and it's not, it may pop up a little bit. Again, I'm just looking to hold it in place so I can get the bolts in. Give a quick wipe down of the transmission surface. We're going to throw some bolts in this baby. And hopefully get this thing out of here. Let's go. Sorry to include you when I screw the new filter up. It's real simple. Rubber seal. If the rubber seal is in good place, good shape, you don't have to change it. I'm sure that's arguable as well. But in case you don't know what it looks like, oh, this is it. It sits up in here. Actually, this way. Sometimes more hassle than it's worth. If it's in good shape, I say leave it. I know a lot of guys agree with me, some won't, but that's all right. I've never had an issue. Seal fits tight. It's not going to come out. It's not going to leak. I left it alone. I didn't want to open up the Pandora's box. New seal's in place. Make sure we're all wiped down. And almost lost my pan. Let's get a couple of bolts to hang this thing with. You tighten these bolts up. Some guys like to use a speed wrench. That's really cool. Some of the younger guys don't even know what it is. That's even funnier. The only thing I tell you is don't. I mean, you can use an air tool if you know your air tool, but you don't want to be crushing this gasket. So if you're not real confident with your air tool and your control of it, then just do it by hand. It's not that big of a deal. Bang my head. That's a good one. Let's throw a little washer on this one. This is that one I put the insert right here. We use a 1/4 bolt. Perfect. Oddly enough, this has one bolt that's longer than the rest. I'm not quite sure why. And then I'll go over and see if I have stock on the right size bolt. It does go through, it's not a big deal, I guess. For some reason, two of these bolts are a little longer than the rest, and I think those might have been replaced. Yeah, see, they go through. You know what, I'm not going to worry about it. They're not in a blind hole. If they were, I'd be worried. But they're going to bottom out and rip the threads out. But and let's tighten this baby up. Right. Know your power tool, right? Oh, you guys are going, you're going to ruin it. You're going to crush it. See? I don't like that one. And that goes through. We'll go get the right size bolt. Check them all by hand. I did manage to find a couple of shorter 6mm bolts with the 8mm head on them. Snug these up nice and nice. Okay. And last but not least, we'll tighten this bolt up. This is the one with the insert. Beauty. And that's that. And I will walk around the bolts one more time because I'm OCD. If I put the socket on the extension the right way, I will. Good. I'm literally, I don't know if you can you guys see it? I'm literally using like 3 fingers. That's just my way of doing it. I know how tight that is. If you don't trust yourself, don't let your pride get in the way. Pull the torque wrench out. Torque it down. You know, some guys, like I said, use a speed wrench, and that's what they gauge by. They know their tool, and that's cool. If you don't know the tool, get the torque wrench out. Pull the spec out. This is my gauge, and it works for me. And my training pans usually don't leak. Watch this one leak now. I will make sure the drain plug is tight because I don't remember if I tightened it. And I did. Let's get it down, get it filled up, see how we made out. Woohoo! Alright, we're back on the ground. This is one of those, let me get a flashlight. GM was nice enough to stick the fill plug and bury it on top of the unit, but underneath everything else with no dipstick. They stuck for those that aren't familiar with this, they stuck a plug. Let's see. They stuck a plug in the unit. Let's see. Can I see it? Can I see it? Where are you? Right up in there. I don't know if there it is. Take the plug out, run the car until fluid dribbles out of the hole, and then clean everything up. Wonderful setup, right? I'm going to fill it, I'm going to run it, I'm going to leak check it, and then we'll finish this up with a little final commentary. Alright, well, the car's been road tested, it's been rechecked for leaks, it's dry, it runs great. You know, at the end, I'm sorry, I didn't include the fill and the fill plug and how to fill it and check it, but that's really, it wasn't about that. It wasn't about a transmission service. There's plenty of videos out there that will show you that. If anybody wants it, I'll request it, I'll do it. But it wasn't about the transmission service. It was more about repairing that damaged pan / transmission case, the drilling and the insert and that kind of stuff. I thought somebody might find that interesting. I knew it was going to be an issue before I started. I didn't anticipate how much of an issue and how many interruptions. If I tell you, I must have done this in 6 different segments. I probably have about an hour and a half worth of recording just on this because I kept forgetting where I was and what I said, and I have doubles of a lot of stuff, and to the point I killed the camera 3 times, and I had to really sit there with it plugged in to try to finish it up, and it's late, and I still have something else to do, so I guess in the end I might have rushed it a little bit, so I apologize. But again, it wasn't about the fill and check. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. So in the end, it's you know, about the you know, let's not beat up on the guy that tried to fix it himself. He is a friend of mine. I know everybody go, oh, well, you know, some people may be inclined to beat up on the guy that tried to fix it and missed it and made it worse, but he tried. And case in point, he actually is a mechanic. He's a diesel mechanic, but he doesn't do a lot of that kind of stuff. And he was doing it on his back in front of his house, probably aggravated because his significant other was driving it, and I'm sure there was a lot of aggravation involved. And he gave it a shot, and probably went too far, and then went, I shouldn't have done that, and asked me to fix it. So it's all good. Which is the point. If you're gonna do something like this, trying to get distracted, set yourself up. You're gonna make a mess. You're gonna break some drill bits. You're gonna have to adapt a little bit. Don't think I'm gonna throw a drill bit at it. I'm gonna be done in 10 minutes. It's not gonna happen, and that's cool. And I was just trying to show one method. Do it with the little key inserts. And one way you can do it. You can Heli-coil it. There's a whole bunch of methods, and that was just one. And I just wanted to share that. So, and that's really it. In the end, it turned out well. So if you like it, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll point over this way. Subscribe. Check out my other videos. Give me a thumbs up, share some comments, and I appreciate you checking it out. And I hope everybody's doing well. Stay busy.